The following podcast contains spoilers.
This is the Bunzerelly Show.
All right, this is the Bunzerelly Show, and we're talking about 2025 Superman, written and directed by James Gunn. Joining me, of course, I got my son Nick.
Hey guys.
So, first time seeing a Superman movie. What'd you think?
I thought it was pretty good. Definitely a good starting point. Great acting. Superman as the hero. See, a lot of the movies I've seen, they make it to me seem
They kind of build up and explain things to
Right.
you, and kind of like build up an origin and stuff.
I'm glad they went straight to the point. So if you ever want to start, like, if you ever want one of your family members to start watching Superman, I think this is a very good starting point.
Yeah.
Because although Superman's
He's been done a lot.
right.
But what it is this one kind of just threw you into the action. One of the things James Gunn did, it's written and directed by James Gunn, is he kind of mimicked the Star Wars crawl, because kind of like you've seen the Spider-Man trilogies.
Right.
And by the time they got to the third Spider-Man, they're like, okay, we don't need to see him get bit by the spider.
Right.
We don't need to see Uncle Ben die and waste like the first hour of the movie.
Right.
People aren't stupid. You know, they kind of know how this thing works. What they did do was, just in case you've never seen Superman or heard him before, he did kind of like the Star Wars crawl, where he just like put some text on the screen to bring you up to speed real quick.
Right.
I also think what it did was not slow down the movie. I remember we were in, and you haven't fully seen Man of Steel, which me and Uncle Bob were big fans of. But the one thing I did notice is we were on a hotel trip and Man of Steel was on, and it was a little slow because you didn't seem very interested in it, which is nothing wrong with that. But the way, as far as like presenting something, it was cool for us because, like, hey, we're really going to delve into Superman, make him realistic. This one really kind of leaned into, hey, it's a comic booky world, and we're just kind of throwing you into it. Which is nice, because really there's not, like, every movie you got to have like your little talking and dialogue, but it pretty much starts with action, and then there's not a lot of slow moments in it.
What did you think of Lex Luthor?
I really liked him. The first Lex Luthor, Gene Hackman, back in like the 70s, I can't remember exactly what his deal was. I think he was mainly just basically a criminal, so his whole thing with Superman was like, I got to bring him down because he's getting in my way. And then there was another Lex Luthor that was more like kind of like a crazy guy. The one from Man of Steel, Jesse Eisenberg. His was a little kind of jokerish, but this one, I liked him because they lean into him being really smart and resourceful. And they lean into his jealousy of Superman, which gave him like a cause, and it gave him motivation.
Right.
But because you got to, as much as like, yeah, he had a lot of resources, but you got to think, how is a normal guy going to go up against Superman? And this movie, they actually pulled it off, where Lex was a threat to Superman.
Right. And I like how, even though he's the villain, like, smart-wise, I like how he kind of hid himself. He because the parent message, it was true.
Yes.
So he was basically
He got lucky.
right.
Yeah, he got lucky. He was hoping of finding something else there to bring him down, and then he just found the message, because the best way to get at Superman was public opinion. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? I mean, he basically had turned the country against Superman. I mean, Superman turned himself in because Superman's basically a good dude. So he turned himself in, well, for two reasons. One was to find a dog, but the other thing was it was the right thing to do.
Sure.
You know what I mean? He could have easily fought back and not been in prison, but he turned himself in. But it's getting Lex. Lex is using his leverage to get the government to assist him, especially because he's pointing out Superman is a threat.
Right. One of the things I noticed, though, one of the main parts of the plot was these two countries.
Yes.
That were fighting against each other.
Yeah.
And although it got straight to the point and it was really good, I feel like just a little bit of context.
A lot of it was like kind of like this stuff is going on. It was more or less that there's this international conflict going on, which kind of mirrors stuff that's really going on in the world. And it was just kind of like, to catch you up to speed, Superman did this got involved a week ago, which we didn't really need to see on screen to kind of caught us up to what exactly it was. But it was just kind of set the tone of,
Right.
especially when Lois was interviewing him, it really showed the thing is like, and even Superman mentions it at the end. This Superman has only been Superman for 4 years. So as powerful as he is, even he kind of makes mistakes. You know what I'm saying? Like if I could fly and everything, yeah, it'd be cool to go over to Russia and fix all these things, but there's still other parts of the picture. There's governments and there's treaties and there's there's protocols. But that's what Superman kind of admits at the end with Lex. He goes, I do make mistakes, but I get up and I keep trying.
Right.
So he's a very inexperienced and naive Superman. Sometimes doing the right thing, you could do it the wrong way.
Sure.
So he took it upon himself to get involved in like international affairs. And that part made it realistic. Besides all like the silliness and the aliens and everything else, they brought it down to like, how would the real world react to Superman?
Sure. What did you think about Superman's super team,
The Justice Gang.
Yeah.
So the Justice Gang, obviously, I think eventually is going to become the Justice League. I liked all of them. I know you were a big fan of Mr. Terrific.
Oh yeah. Hopefully they do a lot more of him.
I have a theory, the more I think about it, is I think Mr. Terrific kind of played the role that Batman would have played if Batman was in his universe already, which is probably still coming down the road. The thing is, there's like another Batman storyline that's kind of finishing out. And whether that Batman's going to exist in a DCU or not, we're not sure. They might wipe it, give us another Batman after that. But had that not been happening, Batman would have been in that role. But I liked Mr. Terrific kind of being the brains. Yeah. I really was a big fan of the use of the not Hal Jordan, the Guy Gardner Green Lantern, played by Nathan Fillion. I like they used a kind of more jerky Green Lantern, because why not give us something different and fresh? And liked Hawkgirl. I liked their chemistry together.
Sure.
And of course, they're funded by Phil Lord, who at the end is actually played by, he does a quick cameo at the end, but he's actually played by Sean Gunn, which is James Gunn's brother, who's also been in the Guardians movies. But I think the whole thing behind the Justice Gang is it's eventually going to become the Justice League, but they're going to work some kinks out, maybe get Batman in there. Kind of maybe as the universe starts to get more put together, then they'll make their decisions on how they're going to do that. Mm-hmm. Whether we need a Justice League movie or just kind of have them exist, that's but I was a big fan of it. It really basically set the tone as like, hey, this world is used to superhumans, and superhumans exist here. It kind of fast-tracked what it took Marvel 10 years to do. Sure. So, yeah, I enjoyed them. I enjoyed the presence of the movie. Plus, it's just something else to look at besides Superman. Right. You know what I mean? And it really set the tone. Like I said, this is because James Gunn being not only the writer and director, he's the CEO of DC, so he's kind of setting a template to how this universe is going to work, because he's probably not going to write and direct every movie, so he's setting the standard for it. Mm-hmm. So if this is the DCU, I thought it was as entertaining as the MCU. Right. So I think we're off to a good start. So with Lex Luthor's pocket dimension, would you think that's a good plot part? It was something different. It kind of just showed his, that he's super, super smart. Right. And it also kind of showed like anything's possible in this world. Like Avengers, it took them 10 years to make us believe in time travel because they had to establish, well, this is possible, this is possible, this is possible. This universe is kind of almost, they're saying off the bat, anything goes. Sure. We don't got to explain anything to you. This is a comic book movie. Just get in for the ride and everything. Sure. But it also just showed once again how smart he is, because he created it basically himself with his team. But it also then of course it created a threat at the end. Mm-hmm. I did like Metropolis kind of having that relationship with Superman.
Right.
You know, because like even in the beginning when it was the Baravian hammer, which ends up being Ultraman, which ends up being a clone of Superman. But the Baravian hammer incident in the beginning, it was like after that first fight, one of the guys in locals said maybe you shouldn't have got involved with that Baravian thing, Superman. Like
Right.
they love him, but they kind of even they question his judgment, and he questions his judgment.
Sure.
And that really came out when he had the interview with Lois, because then, you know, he kind of really just showed his feelings. Once again, he's trying to do the right thing. And what really kind of shows his character in the part where his parents wanted him to rule in the message and everything at the end, that's new to this movie.
Right.
That's a new idea, and it was kind of controversial. But what his Pa Kent, his adoptive father, had told him later kind of brings it full circle. Because it's like, look, you're not just what your parents tell you. It's your choices that make you who you are.
Right.
So it kind of makes Superman a little better, because even knowing that, he still made the right choices. Just because your parents tell you to rule the planet, he wasn't going to. He decided he is who he is. So I thought it was like a risk that kind of paid off. Like I like that. I don't need everything by the book as
Sure.
far as a comic book movie is concerned. We had what else? We had the Metamorpho. I guess he's gonna end up joining. We were watching it again, and we kind of fast forward to that part. That part got a little hokey. It might just be because it's like the third time we watched it.
Right.
But like, you know, once you've seen that little lava thing happen once or twice, you're like, okay, we can
Sure.
skip past this. We know the gist of it. But yeah, he was cool. They kind of laid out his characterization real cool. Like he was in that situation because he was trying to protect his son.
Yeah.
But then when he saw what the stakes are, he still decided to take the risk and do the right thing after he saw how like vicious Lex was.
Right, yeah. He's also probably one of my favorite characters. Even though when we're first introduced to him, he's a little kind of gritty, even though he's caged up.
Yeah.
I feel like when he gets released and when he has his son, he's really comedic, and I really like that.
Yeah. Yeah. And so now you throw him into the mix, and then you have the, you threw him onto the team, so now you got 4.
Sure.
So now, like, you know, the Justice Gang starts to grow and everything. And whether they actually become the Justice League, they were building the Hall of Justice, which is cool because
Right.
that's part of the league and everything. Definitely, yeah, got to catch you up on Batman, at least the last Batman, but it's very different tone, which is why I don't think the Batman that's out there is going to really fit in with this Justice League. Doesn't mean it can't happen, but they're probably going to make a Batman that's more built into this world.
Yeah.
But I'm looking forward to that just because, you know, to see a Batman. They tried doing it before the last round with the Justice League, and it just kind of fell flat. I mean, the first Man of Steel started strong, and then after that, it kind of went downhill.
Right.
But this one's really starting strong. I think the framework built is being solid.
So, I haven't seen any Batman movie.
Yeah.
So, question to you is the Batman nowadays a lot more dark and gritty?
Yeah, and it's just because, like, the last 3 have kind of been a little gritty.
Sure.
But the one they did for the last DCU that was played by Ben Affleck, he was kind of built to be set up in that Superman world. Like
Right.
Superman had a whole origin story. Ben Affleck's Batman never got a solo movie. It was just like Batman versus Superman. It's like,
Right.
here's your Batman. I think they kind of got to do the same thing. I think a Batman needs to be built into this universe. And I liked the current Batman.
Sure.
The latest one, it's the Twilight guy. I forget his name right now, but it was good. It was entertaining and actually had a successful Penguin. I don't know if it would fit into this world. I mean, you know what? Maybe it might, because like I said, this Superman's only been Superman for 4 years. So very well, Gotham City. So Gotham City is the difference between Marvel and DC.
Right.
Is Marvel uses real locations. So they'll have New York, Los Angeles. DC always historically does Metropolis, Gotham City.
Sure.
So Gotham City's a totally different area. So it's almost like Metropolis is New York and Gotham is Detroit. So really in a different area to things going on with Batman, self-contained. I think what it really comes down to, so the new Batman that's going on, first one already came out before the big shakeup and James Gunn took over.
Right.
The second one's going on to finish out that. So the question is James Gunn is going to look at that movie and be like, okay, can we work this Batman in, or do we got to start fresh?
Well, I feel like just a thought. I feel like a DCU, like different Justice Leagues from different universes work together because, like you said, the Batman now is a lot more dark and gritty. Meanwhile, the Superman movie is very, joyful and stuff.
Yeah, that's why I maybe you got to do a new one,
Right.
to work him in, or if you do have that same one, kind of keep him in his corner and not be just as involved.
Right.
Maybe kind of cross paths with Superman. I'll be curious. Well, I think a lot of it's going to depend on the reception of the next Batman movie. I know it's directed by Matt Reeves. I just can't remember the actor's name. But, yeah, I mean, definitely Batman and Superman together. It hasn't really been done quite right yet. So I'd like to see somebody actually give us a good Batman and Superman. It doesn't have to be Batman versus Superman or the Justice, or just some kind of passing interaction, something with Batman and Superman, because they do live in that world. Even I think David Cornsweet, he made a reference. They showed him behind the scenes, and he said something like 1, 2, 3 Batman with the crew, because he goes, yeah, I'm just playing around. I just really want to be in that movie. So maybe it'll happen.
Right.
But I think we're like I said, I think it's a good start to the DCU. I think everything's in good hands. And like I said, you being new with all this stuff, I think you're on board for a ride.
Yeah.
So it's exciting to see where things go. And Nick, I want to thank you for being here.
No problem. It was a very big pleasure to be here, and I look forward to doing a lot more of these.
Awesome. And we'll see you guys.